Today we're running a video on Boa Hancock, which is an amazing leader that I think will do very well in this format, especially with Doflamingo being kicked down a few knocks, which is very, very good for the format. Before this, Doflamingo was just taking over the meta, so now it may be Boa's time to shine. Even without Jinbei, I think this deck is very, very viable. If you don't know, during your turn, once per turn, you may activate this when a character leaves play from one of your abilities. If you have 5 or less cards in hand, draw 1 card. Meaning we can use effects like this Kaido to bounce characters on our opponent's side of the field, and then draw extra cards, and then gain tempo on the board, allowing us to bottom deck characters with big strong cards, like the Kaido that we just saw, or the 3000 Worlds bottom decking a 5 cost, Red Rock bottom decking any character in the game, and Gravity Blade bottom decking any 2/6 cost or lower characters in the game. Now, some of these are passable through certain effects like a Kuzan 5-drop from Blackbeard, other things like that, which, I mean, can't really do much about it, let's be real. I think this deck's amazing in the format, the tempo's great, your draw power is insane, we can stack the top of our deck, the top 5 with this Doflamingo blocker, draw 2, trash 2, getting our hand size 1 lower, because this card is a net negative in hand size. So to basically explain this card, it is a 2k counter, draw 2, trash 2, which I just basically explained for a second time. But this does play 1 card from your hand, meaning you go down 1 card, you draw 2 new cards, you filter your hand, trashing 2 other cards, and go down in hand size, meaning you get to filter your hand and then activate your leader effect by having that 5 or less cards in hand clause when you need to bounce something like this back to hand. So there's a lot of ins and outs. This deck is a lot more strategic than you may think. You can use the Kaido to bounce one of your opponent's character and this character. Just keep in mind that when you bounce your own characters, that does add to your hand size, so the effect comes after you bounce the characters. So you need to always counter out aggressively, keep a low hand size, and really control the board and tempo. We obviously play Charlotte Pudding, return all your opponent's cards to their hand, from their hand to the deck, shuffle the deck, and then draw 5 new cards. Meaning if our opponent has 8 cards in hand, they lose 3 just from this strong effect. Crocodile is a 2k counter that can bounce a 2 cost or lower to the owner's hand for tapping 1 Dawn, which can be our own characters in certain situations where we want to, put a Sengoku back to draw more cards, Kaya back to filter, a blocker back, I don't really know why, but it's a possibility. You also have Jozu, which Jozu bounces one of your characters to hand at any cost to bounce one of your opponent's 6 costs or lowers to hand, which is very strong because we can bounce these little chumps that give us extra stability in the game, late game, being able to continue to filter, getting a 2k back, getting a Sengoku to continue searching, or another 2k counter in the Buggy that looks at the top 3 cards of the deck, which means we can either do that again, or just forget about the effect all in all and use the 2k counter. We also have the new Kyros from OP10, which is going to be one of the newest cards in the deck, and I think actually the only new card in the deck. It basically just replaces the Jinbei slot, which is kind of weird for a 7-drop, but that's not the point. A 7-drop 9k that bounces a 5 cost or lower to the owner's hand. Basically, you can do it on your own cards. I don't know why you would with this kind of effect, but it really helps, bouncing a Smoker or, a Carrot, a Cavendish. So many strong 5 cost cards in the current format. We run the 1-drop chump blocker right there, the Law. We run the 7-drop Doflamingo, which is searchable off Sengoku, return up to one of your opponent's cost 7 or lower to their hand. We play the 4-drop Bounce Law, which is still such a good card, bouncing one of your characters to bounce one of your opponent's 4 cost or lower characters. Again, remember, all of this bouncing on it basically just draws you a card. I don't know why I said bouncing on it, but I said that pretty strategically. Anyways, we also run one of the Gum Gum Brain. It's not really used for the trigger, but it is used for a 3k counter because we run a bunch of bricks, being 3 Kaidos, 3 Kyros, 3 Law, 2 Doflamingos, and all of these other events. But we always get to draw cards and counter out aggressively, keeping our hand size low and filtering through the deck. Anyways, that's going to be Boa. I'm sorry I don't have a face cam today or a big detailed video. I have been out of town and crazy. I'll explain that more in the video as we go through some games. We're going to start off against Katakuri. Times when Dawn when attacking, look at up to one of yours or your opponent's life and then put it on the top or bottom, and then your leader gains plus 1000. Now this hand is not good for this matchup. Red Rock's amazing, but everything else is just chumps. We definitely want a mulligan to get some more actual options. And to keep our hand size low, we may go ahead and filter. We're going 1 into 3, so I would love to see something here. I think we're going to go with the Buggy to actually stack the top 3. Oh, I wish I could put this on the bottom. I so wish I could put this on the bottom. Red Rock's going to be good, but I think I'd rather have this to bottom deck a Parasparrow. 2k counter may be good, and then draw 2, trash 2 on the next turn. That's okay with me. We'll pass it there and see what we can do. Honestly, this is not looking like a great hand. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Kind of slow. We're going to draw 2, trash 2 here, just to filter out of those cards, and then swing. We could also just go 5 and 5. Really put on some aggression here. let's just swing 5 and see what they do. If they take, I think we'll swing again. If they counter, we'll leave it be. I think they probably I mean, either way, getting a 5 and 5 may not be bad here. Maybe forcing them into our actual Buggy, and then keeping our hand size where it is. We can always play Kai on the next turn to bounce back, or if they don't get rid of this Buggy, which this Buggy is a target to kill, because if not, we can just use it for other effects. So we'll leave it like that and see what we can do. I think we can play Kaya next turn, draw 2, trash 2, and then play out our Bounce Law to draw an extra card after getting our hand size a little lower. That's the goal at least. Oh man, that's going to be an 8k banish at face. I don't really like that. I don't really have the counter for it either, so we're just going to let it ride. We do lose a Gravity Blade trigger off the top, which is not going to be good. So let's draw 2. We are going to trash 2, which is going to be... I like this as an option, but we have the bounce instead, so I'd rather have the counter. We definitely need a big body, but I definitely want to be able to play this. Ooh, I think we'll drop the 2k counter. No, we'll drop the Sengoku. I don't think we need Sengoku. We're going to swing 5 at face. We should have done this first, but we can really bounce either of these into our hand and feel pretty safe about it because they're both 2k counters. So even if they do get some kind of trigger, which I'm assuming they're going to counter out aggressively here, but if they did get a trigger, I think we'd still be okay. Bouncing a 2k back to hand and drawing another card is going to feel very good because we're at 5 here. We bounce 1 back. That puts us at 5 still. So do this. We'll bounce back Kaya. Oh man, I don't really want to bounce this back. I didn't really think this through. We're going to choose no targets and draw a card. I did not really think that one through. I definitely do not want to give them banish a second time here. But I definitely think we needed to continue to kind of filter through our deck because we don't have many great options. We do have the Doflamingo on the next turn, so if they play down like a 6 cost of some sort, we can bounce it back. But I'm not too stressed about it. Looks like they're just going to swing 8 at face here. We are definitely just going to take, and they may play out a Kiki Nojo or a Basil Hawkins. Looked at our own life, which is kind of interesting. Usually you look at your own. We get a 1-drop chump blocker, which is totally okay with me. They get the Basil Hawkins we were just talking about. So we're just going to swing 5 at face, and then develop this Kyros we just got. Obviously, it would be nice to get the bounce in and all that jazz, but it just does not seem like an option at this point because we could just, Red Rock this guy, but I think Red Rock would be such a better card for something else, and I like just getting the tempo on the board. Getting a 9k on the board is going to be very strong here. So we'll just pass turn at that. It would give them the Hawkins back. We don't get to draw a card, but we need to counter out aggressively on this next swing to continue drawing cards. I think we just trash our life. They're going to swing 7 at our face. We need to counter out anyways, so I think we just trash our life. We're not too stressed about it. That would have been very nice. I'm not going to lie to you, but that's totally okay. They're going to swing 7 at Law. We're just going to let Law go because we can play this out. We could also just bottom deck the character, but I think we're okay with where we're at. I think we just need to counter. I think we counter. I don't want to per se, but I definitely don't mind countering just to get less cards in hand because we will be bouncing a character here. So we're going to be swinging 5, 5, 9 into face, continuing to put pressure, and we're not too stressed about this Lin then because they definitely need to get rid of our board. We'll be able to draw an extra card. We have answers to their big mom. We have chump blockers on the board, or able to go on the board soon, and I think we will play this down, bounce their character, and draw 1. That gives us a Jozu in hand. So now we'll play out the Law blocker, and then I think we will go ahead and I think we'll keep the Buggy because we can use that for counter. I think we just pass at that point. It's okay that we have the 1 extra Dawn. We could have swung 6 once, but that doesn't matter too much. You can see here it is going to be a 10 Lin, so we will probably give him a Jozu. I don't think Jozu's going to do much anymore, so I just want to get the hand size a little lower in case we want to continue bouncing cards because we are going to Red Rock their character very easily here. So Red Rock, draw a card to know what options we have. We aren't going to use this, but it definitely will be counter in a minute. So now we know what we're doing. We're going to go 7, 7, a bunch of 7s, and a 9, it looks like. So 7, 7, 7 with leader, and then 9. So I think you can see the strength of this deck. They get a draw 2, trash 1 trigger. That's going to be very good for filtering the hand. They're getting rid of Brick, which is very good. We do find 2 Red Rocks, which I think is basically what saves us in this matchup. They have to counter out aggressively because they know how many more swings are coming at them. So a Bed trigger would be very, very bad for us. I would not enjoy that. Brule trigger's just as bad almost because, I mean, it just basically mitigates the attack, but at least it's -1 in hand size, which I guess a Bed trigger would have been the same, and our character would be active. So I think that's almost worse in a way. We will counter this. We have no issue at all countering that. I mean, we need to keep a low hand size as we talked about. We still have our chump blocker on the board, and I think we could just press for game and then decide if we want to Red Rock or not. So we can just go 7 into face, see what kind of triggers they get. If they can't counter out, we're kind of chilling because, I mean, we could always just be safe and not even worry about it because even if they split here, I don't think that we lose per se. We'll go 9 into face. What was the discarding for? I don't really know. I don't really know if I noticed what the discard just was. Some kind of trigger. They do get a Buggy trigger, which I don't think they should have used just because I could have just red rocked, but I think we just swing 15. Obviously, if they have 5 2Ks and a 1K, it is what it is. We also could have just red rocked this and then drawn one more card. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh! They had the counter, which is crazy. That's crazy. Game 1 is wild. We should have done the safe move, guys. You don't have to go for game. Just remember that. You never have to go for game. That's crazy. Yeah, we'll block that. That sucks, but that's so stupid. We would have had a 2K off the top too, so we would have been perfectly fine if we would have just red rocked the character, drawn a new card, which would have been a 2K counter. We would have had 5K counter. So even if they split with the Onami, they can only go, what, 3 here for 9 and then 6 here for 9. We get out of that because we have, you know, the counter. But we couldn't have played based off this being a 2K counter, you know, because mathematically we usually lose there if we don't get that. If they didn't get the Buggy trigger, we actually just won that game as well. So technically, everything put together, that's wild. GG's to our opponent. Here's going to be a very interesting matchup. Usually we like to go second, I feel like, but it's almost like with Reiju, I don't really know. We'll choose to go second, our usual curve, and I think we will... Oh, this is some good bodies on the board, but the 5s aren't so good in this matchup because we're just giving them their Reijus back, so I think I'd rather at least have the chance to bottom deck, which we do get in the 3000 Worlds. I think this card's super underrated, and I have an amazing list coming out very soon, but I had to go to Miami Collecticon last week. If you saw that video, it was so much fun, and then I run card shows, so we had a card show 2 weeks ago, which you have a video on as well. And then I have a card show this weekend, which you'll probably have a video on because our new friend Daniel is going to be doing some videography on it. So that's going to be cool. We'll play this out, getting to look at the top of our deck. I like being able to bounce a 7 back to hand, though. Let me tell you, I think that's going to be very strong in this matchup. And let's see what else we can find. Just keep digging, keep digging. A 2K would be nice, but I think the law may be better. Even if it's just to bounce our own 2 characters to hand, that's going to just draw us 2 rather than our leader effect drawing us 1. So we'll just grab that and pass the turn to them. We'll just swing 5 on the next turn, bounce both of these if they don't play anything that's actually worth bouncing here. They could literally already pop off, just go a Chi-Ji, go Porsche into a Chi-Ji, and then really just go crazy, swinging 5, 7, and then have another 5K active on the board, which would not be fun. And then giving them the Porsche back is not also enjoyable, but it really forces their Dawn backwards. So a lot of people are scared of the Porsche. Personally, I recommend bouncing that thing back. So they're going to swing 6 at face. I think we will counter out here because we have so many cards in hand. We might as well, especially because we have so much already going on. We can easily give them the Reiju back to hand, which is totally fine with me. We'll just swing 5 at their face. We'll bounce one of our characters and bounce their Reiju back. It's showing me they don't have a Reiju yet, which is also very good to note. We could also just go for developing the Doflamingo and the Buggy here, lowering our hand size to really get the most draw power out of this turn. But I think this is just the safe play, is just bouncing both the characters, passing turn. We don't get the extra draw, but that's totally okay with us. We can counter out aggressively to get the extra draw on the next turn. Because next turn we'll be on 6, we can stack the top of our deck, or we can Sengoku and then stack the top, depending on what we find with Sengoku, and depending on also what they play. They have not found their stage yet. That is a very good sign for this Reiju matchup. I mean, one of my buddies, Andy, kind of destroyed me with Reiju on our One Piece Discord tournament that we did for 500 subs, which were almost to 1,000. So make sure to hit that subscribe button right now, because if you don't, you hate me. And if you hate me, that's fine, but it would be a little cooler if you didn't. 7, I think we're just going to take the 7. Oh, never mind. They're going 8. Oh, I want to counter to keep lower hand size, but I don't think it's worth it at this point. They play the Reiju down. They don't want to use it because they have 7 cards in hand, being a very good thing right here. We could also play this, so that would be 1. We can't lower our hand size enough, though, to get to that point where we can use this in a very strong spot. This would be nice just to be able to bounce their card back and then swing in, but keeping that 2K may be better. I think we stack the top of our deck and see what we find. Ooh, so we're going into 8 on the next turn where we can play one of these down and bounce something. So I think that's going to be very good here. So we're going to keep this on the top. We're going to draw into, I think a Gravity Blade will do good in case they do go wide with Reijus and other cards. I honestly think this is almost the perfect setup. I think just the only thing I'd move is this character right here, and maybe draw into some counter sometime soon. But at the end of the day, we'll draw Sengoku on the next turn, I guess. So I guess we don't have too much to do here other than swing 5-5-5 and really lower their hand size. Or we can swing really heavy on one swing. Ooh, there's a lot of thinking in this. I think we just leave it like that. I think that's fine. We'll go 6 and then we'll go 7. There's no reason swinging 5-5-5. They refill their hand so much easier than any other deck. And there's no reason to really play out these buggies because we just saw the top of our deck, so why change it now? We know how strong it is. We're getting the Gravity Blade on the next turn, so we will be busting out probably the Doflamingo, returning their 7-drop if they can ever find one to their hand. They should counter out of this aggressively and the 7. But what I was saying about the 5 is that it would only be 3 cards out of hand, putting them at 4. They draw into 1, being 5. They get to pop off with the Reiju next turn. That doesn't sound so good. But if we swing 7, it could also be 2 cards, but it seems more taxing than swinging 5-5-5. This would have to force out 2 2Ks and a 1K versus 3 1Ks. 1Ks is usually what they want to ditch for their leader effect because you just want to get rid of your Reijus and other cards, you know, the big bodies, because you can continue to move on with the game. Now, this is not something we want to see the German Kingdom stage. They grab another Reiju. They could double Reiju this turn, which would actually kind of go crazy. Drawing so many cards, but they would really have to empty this thing out. They have 7 cards in hand, so we are swinging in aggressively, as we usually do. Reiju being a very, very strong leader, basically being able to draw a card every time you return a Dawn. So it's very similar to Boa in its own way, except this doesn't have, you know, a limit to it. So that you can have 50 cards in hand, not literally, because you only have 50 cards in the deck, don't get me wrong, but you could have 25 cards in hand and still draw a card for this leader effect. Now, if you're playing in a game where you have 25 cards in hand, I don't know what game you're playing. You may be playing a Nell, but definitely not Reiju. I don't know what kind of book you got cooked, but you definitely have something going on. If you got that many cards in hand, that's crazy. Now, they only get to draw the 1 card for the leader effect because they do have 5 or more cards in hand, so it does not really work to draw the 2, which is why I thought they didn't do it earlier, but hey, who's to say? Maybe they just wanted to draw 1 to maybe try to find an Ichiji because they don't seem to have one yet, at least a small one. They don't have a big one in the trash either, but what you could have done is play out the small one from hand for 1, putting you down to 6 cards in hand, and then play 1 out from hand. I guess that would make you draw another card, and then they could play, they'd still have 2, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to make the math here for the guys. We'll counter this aggressively, not too stressed about it. They could even Ichiji here, because they do have the 4 Dawn active. They could Niji and bounce one of our characters back to our hand, which is not going to activate our leader effect, but yeah, because it's one of your abilities. I was about to say, but wait a minute, what if it does? And it doesn't, but it could be a cool idea. I do really like this Boa list. I think it's very strong in the format. But anyways, back to the channel, back to the deck. Join the Discord down below. I definitely want to see more community members in there. I haven't been able to do as much and be as active in the community as I've wanted to over the last 2 weeks, but when duty calls, duty calls. Hopefully they don't make the same mistake a second time, you know, activating another Reiju. Unless they're, well, I guess they'd be playing it from hand, so it wouldn't really matter. And I almost feel like just bottom decking both of these would be very nice here. So maybe we swing in for 5, we swing in for 6, forcing out 2Ks, and then we just bottom deck both of the Reijus. Because if these things are gone and they're already having issues with starting their, you know, whole deck as going, if we put this back in hand, they just play it out. So what if we just bottom deck it? Which, I mean, I guess we could also, bottom deck one of them, like just the big one, because they don't have the small one yet, draw a card, and then still develop a body on the board, which actually kind of sounds nice, because I don't want to keep countering out of this, and I don't know. Both are great options here. I think we know the next card in our deck is a 10-drop Kaido, and then it should be a 7-drop Doflamingo, and then it should be a 4-drop Law, and then it should be a Kyros. It kind of helps to remember that because all of it's already in our hand, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll just act like nothing happened, I guess. So I think we could also just swing out. We could just go, you know, 3,000 Worlds, bottom deck this, you know, keep it going. But I kind of like the Gravity Blade the more I think about it. Just getting rid of 2 options to continue drawing when their hand size is already so low, I don't think is a bad option. I think we'll even swing with the blocker here, just since we have the extra Dawn and we don't want to play out the Buggy because we already know our cards. We'll just swing in for another 5. Here's where it makes sense because they have a lower hand size. Bottom deck both of these and draw a card, which we knew was a 10-drop Kaido. So now we can 10-drop Kaido on the next turn, especially if they do finally get the Ichiji on the board. We can bounce their Chopper back to hand. I mean, you can see the strength of what we're setting up right here. They use the German Kingdom, discarding the Tony Chopper blocker, which I don't honestly know if that's a good idea. They're even up to 9 Dawn, which is really weird for this deck. Usually they stay at a very low Dawn count, but hey, it is what it is. I definitely can understand why it wouldn't be, why it would be like that, but hey, it is what it is. They played on the Porsche finally finding their Porsche engine, which is one of the strongest engines in this deck. Being able to play a 4,000 power or lower purple character from your hand, being this guy right here, an Ichiji. Ichiji is going to be very strong here. We're going to be able to bounce back both the Ichiji and the Porsche next turn with the 10-drop Kaido. They get to search the top 5 of their deck with the Sanji. They're really trying to find big Ichiji here, which if they do, they get to draw a card basically replacing itself, because they will have to play it from hand, as they have no way to discard it unless they have another stage. If they have another stage, I don't think that's the play yet. I think you discard that for the stage, and that's what they would have done instead of getting rid of the Chopper in the first place. Now, they do finally find the 7 cost with the Rush, so they will be able to clear out both of our bodies, I'm assuming. Unless we choose to counter out aggressively here, which I'm also not against. It depends on what they swing and where. With having 5 Dawn still active, more than likely it's not going to happen. I mean, they could even put 5 on the Chopper here, swing 5 at us, and what are we going to do, you know? So they give minus 2,000 to the Law. Looks like they're going to swing 5 into the Law here. And then they still have the 5 Dawn, which I don't think they have anything to play here for 5. Maybe a Niji. Niji would KO Sengoku, which definitely would not be bad here. If they just swing 7 into Doflamingo, we give them 2 cards, then they swing 5 more and we can't counter out. I'm trying to mathematically think about this, because this is a 3K. They could just go 3 here and then swing there. I just think we let it go. I think mathematically, no matter what we do and what they do, we're kind of in a bad spot. They played on Sora. Sora's going to discard a card from hand to grab one of the babies from hand. So they discard this to play out a big, or get the little Ichiji back to hand. Little Ichiji now being played out to play out another Ichiji, which we just saw was in the trash. Now they're down to 6 Dawn, going into 8 on the next turn, but they have developed a very, very strong board. Now they don't have a hand size, they don't have Ichijis, they're going to clear our board out, they have a blocker, like there's so much going on here that does not sound good, but I think we'll be okay. They go 7 at face. I'll tell you right now that's incorrect. I will tell you right now that's incorrect. That is not where you want to be swinging right now at all. So we'll give them 2 cards from hand so that we can draw on the next turn, getting our full effect. We're just going to swing 5 into face, call it a day. They're going to counter out of hand. They have to at this point. But, I mean, if they don't, that's also okay. I would love to see this blocker out of the way, but of course it won't be. We're going to 10-drop Kaido, bounce, and then drawing an extra card. So now we're still sitting on 3K counter and a blocker. We'll pass the turn to them. They have a blocker, now 4 cards in hand. They should get 2, probably about 5 if they can find their Reijus, but we really took the hustle out of the engine when we got rid of those 2 with the bottom decking. So I'm hoping they don't find it. They drop another Ichiji, which we did just see, I guess, in their hand. We bounced it back ourselves, so I don't know why I'm too surprised about it, but I think we're really controlling the tempo for a deck that should be taking off very rapidly, and I also think they've been kind of slow, so that's kind of nice. They do get the Sanji promo, which is a 2K counter that also allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and then put them in the top or bottom in any order. Basically a Doflamingo effect, but it is Germa searchable. It makes sense to have it in the deck, but it's not very strong. They played on the Porsche that we did just return to their hand. Probably, hopefully, cheating out a Chopper blocker. If they do, we're in a worse position. They grab a Chopper from... Oh my gosh. Let's see what they can do. If they have another Ichiji already stacked up, I am going to be kind of pissed. I am going to be pissed. They get to draw 1 card for the Reiju effect, meaning they probably did not have what we were expecting. They're going to swing in probably very aggressively here, and I do think if we can counter out of 1 attack, we should. Just because, again, having the lower hand size definitely works. The 2 blockers is very annoying here. Well, it is what it is. We'll give them a 2K here. Definitely better to say safe than sorry. The cool thing is we can easily bounce back this Ichiji. They played on the Black Bug to get rid of our blocker. So we definitely should have cashed in on the blocker, but you can't always expect to have a Black Bug just sitting around. Ooh, that blocker is going to feel very nice in just a moment. So we know the next card is counter. We can empty out our hand a little bit here. So we could play this down and then play down one of the characters, bounce one of the Ichijis back to hand. And then we'll still have 2 to swing. So we can go for 7 into face here. Seeing what they choose to do. We know we're playing an 8 Dawn turn. So we're going to ignore the Kyros for now. We know we're getting 1K counter Law in the next one. So that's going to be very nice to have. They do counter out very aggressively here. Hoping that we obviously don't swing this. I think no matter what, if we swing 12 into Ichiji, they block out. I think if we swing 12 into face, they just take because they have to go for game on the next turn. So I think we go for getting the blocker out of here, in my personal opinion. But it's hard to say which one's the correct option here. There's not really a way to win the game, per se. We could have 3,000 Worlds and then split, but it would have been like a 5-8, and we already knew they had a 2K, or it could have been 7-7, I guess, maybe. But still, they got out of that one, so it wouldn't have worked out. We are definitely going to swing I think we're going to swing a Chiji. If they let it die, we'll be able to bottom deck something else, but of course they're not going to. Now we're going to play out a 7-cost Doflamingo, being able to bounce back a Chiji. Oh, we're supposed to play it on the law first to draw a card, and we totally butchered it, and that may lose us the game. That may genuinely lose us the game. Oh my gosh. Talking too much does not always help. I'm trying to explain my thoughts and everything going on. They grab a Sanji, being able to look at the top 5 cards. If they find another Chiji, we just lose. Genuinely, I think we just lose unless this is 2K counters because we are bricked up like none other. We have been watching too much of too much. They get a Judge. Judge may be manageable. Actually, Judge may be manageable because that should clear out their whole board. It'll be, what, 5, which we can counter out of. It'll be 6, which we can take. 7, which we can block. I think we should be okay here. We have the 3,000 Worlds to bottom deck their Chopper. They only have 1 blocker coming out of this effect. They could discard the 2 cards for the effect, meaning that you have to have 2 cards to do this effect. Just remember that. They shouldn't clear out the blocker. If they do, they just lose. They also shouldn't have a way to win, and they don't have enough Dawn to use the Reiju and play out another Ichiji if they did draw into it. So I'm thinking we're very safe here. They have 1 Reiju and then 3 Ichijis in the garbage. In the trash, we should be safe. Okay, we're good. We are good. I was very stressed for a minute, but I think we should be okay here. I did not expect that. I did not expect that at all, but I'm actually really okay with that. We'll have to see what happens. They do play down the Ichiji, just like we expected, drawing 1 more card. They don't have like a 1-drop chump blocker. They don't have a way to really clear this out. So whatever they did, it didn't matter. We get to draw 2 more cards here. Well, they get to. Zaknel gets to draw 2 more cards, which is totally okay. They're going to swing 6 at face. We are going to take. They don't have a way to really interact with our board. And then we are going to take the 7 just to see if there's a lower end option. There's not. So boom, bam, bop. We'll bottom deck this. We will go 12 at face. If they can't get out of 12, which they genuinely can mathematically, now we just go 13 at face, which they mathematically cannot get out of because 2, 2, 2, 2, it wouldn't even matter. That would get them to 13. You have to be over 13, and we win. GG's. Your biggest foe in the meta right now is probably going to be Rornor Zoro. I think we take first away from their deck, even if it isn't our perfect curve. I like this and I don't, so we're going to mulligan. We're going to see what we can do, and not much with that, so let's try to find something, and of course we just butcher it. We cannot grab any of these because none of them are 7 Warlords of the Sea. We're going to just pass turn. We lose 3 Jozus, 1 10-drop, and another 1-drop. All we've seen so far is 1-drops. This is not looking too good for us. Holy cow, I did not know something could look so bad. We're going into 5 on the next turn, so I think this is maybe our only option. Possibly the Croc, and then going into the Doflamingo on the next turn. So the Red Rock's not going to do too much against this deck. I think we just swing 6 in the face. They take, because that's what this deck does. They take very aggressively because they need counter power for their board. They should just take. If they didn't, it would be a misplay. We're going to play down the blocker and pass. We don't have any way to bounce anything. We could bounce our own characters with our own Crocodile, which is definitely an option. 6 at face. We're going to take aggressively here. We do find a 10-drop. We may have countered that in any other world, but I don't think it's necessary. We do have a way to bottom deck this Chopper. They butcher it too. Oh my gosh, we are feeling so much better now. We're just going to swing 6 at face and then bottom deck this Chopper. We will get to draw a card. They'll probably take, but they don't. So we'll bottom deck this and draw a card, pass. We know the next card's going to be a Red Rock, which is going to be discard fodder when we need it. We're going into 7 so we can bounce this Luffy back to hand. They're going to put a Dawn on their leader. They're going to swing 7 and 7. So I think we will take and then counter. Or we could counter. Let's take. Let's take aggressively. Because we know we're going to counter the... Oh, it's only a 6. They really got us there. I mean, that's kind of good anyways. It puts us to the hand size we need to be at. They leave 1 open. So I think we just... A Gravity Blade would be killer. We may even just stop this effect in total. They just give up. They literally just give up. Because even if they play this, they look at the top 5. They would have gotten their Chopper out. But I don't think we were going to swing that turn. I was going to play this, bounce our character, draw 1. We would have gotten the Law and then pass. We start developing a bigger board next turn. Even if they do finally find that character or cheat out 2 bodies, play out the Kid Killer, we play out the 10-drop, bounce, and then bounce probably one of the 3 drops they play out or one of our own characters to hand draw another card. I think we kind of were getting the tempo there, but who's to say? One more game, let's get it. Now we go against the best blue deck in the format. We're going to take first away from them just because it is so good for their curve. I love the Gravity Blade. I love the 3,000 Worlds. I think those are both very, very strong in this matchup. And we can Kaya. I don't even care to find anything here. We'll drop a Red Rock, and I really like a Jozu as well. So I think we may just get rid of the Red Rocks, not really worry about their big 10 drops, because we're going to be able to get rid of everything else they put on the board. I think we're going to go sicko mode there. We're going to go into 3, probably swinging 8 at face. We can't swing 5 and 5 with the Kaya. That would be very strong against this Buggy. This is a deck that I would say running those kind of swings would be very good, but it won't happen for this one. We're going to swing 8 at them. They will be on 4 Dawn on the next turn. Usually that's going to be a 1-cost Searcher and a 3-drop draw 2. We may even putting on our 5 Dawn turn because there's not too much else to do. And, you know, if they're just going to swing 7 at us, we are going to take, because I don't want to lose the cards that are in my hand right now. I'd much rather have them. They have 2 Dawn active, which I don't know why you wouldn't have swung 9, but I guess maybe it was just because what if? I think the pudding's going to do a lot in this matchup right now, so I think we will go ahead and pudding them. There's nothing else we really want to do. The Kaya would be nice, but we can use that for Jozu, so pudding, and then we're going to stack the top 3 cards. I don't really like any of these, to be honest, but we're going into 7 Dawn, so we could also play down Sengoku, bounce Sengoku, or we can just bounce Kaya, play down Sengoku next turn. We could also go for a chump blocker, which I don't think is bad in this matchup, but I'm not sold on it. So I'd rather dig through the deck more, especially with those cards on top. We'll just swing 5 into face and then call it a day. Pudding was very strong. It put them down to 3 life and only 7 cards in hand now. Even though they are going to be able to get the Crocodile out, they now get the top 5 to play out Crocodile, discarding 1 card, and then playing out another body, putting them to 4 cards in hand, which is a much better spot in my opinion. They play down the 7-drop Buggy, so they get a draw 2, trash 2. This replaces itself basically for free. We are going to counter out of this one because we won't be needing this character anymore. And then we will have the Kaido to bounce some characters in just a couple of turns. So I think we're just going to go ahead and bounce the Jozu. We could even bounce the pudding, just carrying them from going to a bigger hand size. But I don't think that's going to happen now that we've already done it. We're going to get to draw a card here. We get the Law from the top. We may even just swing 5 now. And then we can't swing the Charlotte Pudding because of this Buggy, which we have to remember here. So we may just go for continuing to fill out the board with stronger characters. We're not too worried about a swing here with the blocker, and we will get counter from whatever we find at the top, being a Buggy of our own. Getting a 2k counter is going to be very strong, and pass the turn. We still have 3,000 worlds to bottom deck something. We still have this to bounce something back. Like, we have so much going on here that I'm really not too worried about it. We will just give them the Buggy here to get a lower hand size, which is going to be very strong. We're on 9 Dawn, so it's like, do we want to bounce the Crocodile back? Do we want to bottom deck the Daz Bones? I don't really know in this situation because both sound like great options. Because what they could do next turn is replay the Crocodile to then play out something else and then 5 drop. So if they're going to 10, tap 5, discard 1 card, play out Croc to play out another body. So that would put them back to their 3 bodies. Oh no, they would still have this, and then 1 more body on top. And then tap 5 to play out a 10 drop, bounce one of our characters. So the best option is to get rid of Daz Bones in case they don't have a second Crocodile. So we are going to tap 4 here to bottom deck Daz Bones and draw a card, being the 3. Ooh, that 3-drop Doflamingo is going to be good. Very, very good. So we're going to swing 7 at face, and then force them to counter out probably aggressively here. If they don't, I think they're in a bad spot. Yeah, I was going to say, if they had to take that, ooh, the Sabo in the deck, I did not expect that, but that may actually be a very good tech option. I haven't fit that in my deck personally. Ooh, and this Gravity Blade could be very good. I don't think we have any other options because we have the 10 drop, so we're already kind of good with whatever they play. We can bounce some of their characters back, call it a day. I think we're just going to leave it almost how it is. Start placing on the top because we'll bounce next turn, get this, and then get drawn to the Gum Gum Brain. I think we just leave it like that and pass. That means we still have 2k counter in hand. Not much other counters. This deck does run a ton of bricks, but that is what it is. They have 2 swings coming in. They do exactly as we said. Crocodile into Daz Bones. Discard 1 card. Tap 5 to play a 10 drop. 10 drop bouncing our Jozu to the bottom of the deck. Actually, no, they did it for a Mihawk blocker, which is going to be a draw 2, trash 1. I think we're kind of okay with that. They have 2 swings into us. We're going to take a 5 aggressively and then probably just block out of this. I think I like having this Jozu right here. Which we will just block out of this attack, and then bounce a few characters back to hand here, being our own Buggy. We could also just bottom deck both of these characters, which is going to be very good. So I think what we'll do is play down a Law Blocker to empty out our hand. We're going to Gravity Blade both of these characters and draw a card. So now we get that Gum Gum Rain, and our opponent just gets rid of the game himself. Is he running 10-drop Buggy? He is, but they're down here somewhere. I only saw the one. Kind of an interesting list right here, but hey, we got it pretty easily. I think that was a pretty strong win. We definitely had the tempo the whole game. I think you can see what this deck's trying to do. Well, that's it for this Boa list. I hope you enjoyed and saw what the deck was trying to work with here. Basically just keeping tempo on the board. I kept saying it over and over again, but that is just the strength of Boa, because you keep drawing while they keep getting cards sent back to their hand, basically showing off their own effects of whatever's going on. We'll get rid of the Boa just to let you run through the deck. If you need to take a screenshot, go ahead and do so now. Copy and paste the deck, which is down in the description below. If you want to copy and paste it into the sim, just copy the deck list and then hit import deck from clipboard. Boom, nice and easy. Places your deck here, which I got from One Piece Top Decks online, which was a second placing deck in Italy on the 31st of March. So 2025. If you're watching this later, this may not be viable, but I hope you enjoyed. Either way, usually I have a lot more editing and pizzazz and going on, but again, I've been a little too busy to even put out a One Piece video, so I just want to get something out quick, easy, and enjoyable. So thank you so much for watching. I love you and your mama. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.